Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the fascinating world of language. You know me, I love words, I love talking, I love when other people talk, I love when animals almost talk. It's all fascinating, but language is a funny thing, isn't it? It's how we connect, how we share ideas, how we tell someone they have spinach in their teeth without actually having to point. It's a beautiful, complex, sometimes totally baffling thing, and that's what makes it so interesting. We think we have a word for everything, but do we really? Ever come across a word in another language that just doesn't have an English equivalent? You know, you hear it, you understand the behind it, but if someone asks you to translate it into one single, perfect English word, you're just like, makes a confused, searching face. Well, it's kinda like, but not quite, with a hint of, and then you add a dash of. It's like trying to describe the color blue to someone who's never seen it. You can say sky or ocean, but it's not the of blue, you know? These words are like little windows into other cultures, showing us unique ways people see and experience the world. Well, we've got 10 of those fun words for you today. These are the kinds of words that make you go, yes, that's exactly what I feel sometimes. Well, I don't have a word for that. They're quirky, they're insightful, and some of them are just downright hilarious. Trust me, you're going to want to start sprinkling these into your everyday conversations, even if no one else knows what you're talking about. It'll be our little secret. So, get ready to expand your vocabulary in ways you never expected. Alright, kicking us off is a word from Scotland, and it's called tartle. Spells it out slowly. T-A-R-T-L-E. Now, we've all been there. Picture this. You're at a party, or maybe just walking down the street, and you see someone you know. You know them. You've had conversations, you've shared a laugh, maybe they even lent you a pen once. But as you approach ready for that friendly greeting, their name just, poof, vanishes. It's like your brain hits the eject button on that one specific piece of information. That awkward, hesitant pause right before you're supposed to introduce them or just say their name. That, my friends, is tartle. It's that split second of panic where you're mentally rifling through your entire internal Rolodex, which, by the way, is probably covered in cobwebs and a few old grocery lists. Is it Sarah? No, that's my cousin Bob. No, he has a mustache. And the other person is just standing there smiling, completely unaware of the silent mental gymnastics you're performing. It's a universal experience, that little moment of, oh no, I'm about to look like a fool. So next time it happens, instead of just stammering, you can say, oh, pardon my tartle. They won't know what it means, but you'll feel very sophisticated. Our next word comes from Germany, and it's a wonderfully descriptive one. Kummerspeck. Pronounces it with a slight German accent, then laughs. Okay, let's break this down. Kummer means grief or sorrow, and speck means bacon. Yes, you heard that right. Grief bacon. It refers to that excess weight you gain from emotional overeating. You know, when you're feeling down, or stressed, or maybe just a little bit blue, and suddenly that pint of ice cream, that bag of chips, or perhaps an entire plate of bacon, starts calling your name a little too loudly. It's not just any weight gain, it's specifically the pounds packed on because you're eating your feelings. We've all had those moments, right? A tough day at work, a silly argument, or maybe your favorite show just got canceled, and suddenly comfort food becomes your best friend. Kummerspeck perfectly captures that link between our emotions and our appetite. It's like, oh, this extra little bit around the middle? That's not just fat, that's my Kummerspeck. It's a souvenir from that time I binge-watched that sad dog movie. It's almost a badge of emotional honor if bacon can be a badge. Moving on, we have a Russian word, pochamuchka, pronounces it carefully. This is a fantastic term for a person, often a child, but let's be honest, adults can be pochamuchkas too, who asks A of questions. And I mean A, why is the sky blue? Why do dogs bark? Why do we have to eat vegetables? Why is that man wearing a tiny hat? Why? It's that insatiable curiosity, that relentless stream of inquiries that can sometimes, just sometimes, test the patience of even the most saintly individual. But it's not necessarily a negative term. A pochamuchka is driven by a deep desire to understand the world around them. They're explorers of knowledge, even if their expeditions involve asking you why socks come in pairs when you're just trying to enjoy your morning coffee. Think of that kid in every family or that one friend who just never runs out of questions. They see something, and their first instinct is to dissect it with a barrage of whys and hows. So if you know a little pochamuchka, or maybe you one, embrace it. Just maybe try to time your deepest philosophical questions for after the coffee has kicked in. Chapter 4. Our fourth word is from Japan, and it's one that I think many of us, especially book lovers, can relate to: tsundoku. This describes the act of buying books and letting them pile up in your home unread. You go into a bookstore full of good intentions. Oh, this one looks fascinating, and this one everyone's talking about it. Ooh, a classic I've always meant to read. Before you know it, you've got a stack, you bring them home, and they join the other hopeful stacks on your nightstand, your shelves, maybe even the floor, and there they sit, a beautiful, promising monument to all the reading you to do. It's not that you don't want to read them, it's just that life, or maybe another new book, gets in the way. Tsundoku isn't about neglecting books, it's more about the joy of acquiring them, the anticipation of reading them, even if that moment gets perpetually postponed. It's an art form, really, a hopeful collection. So, if your house looks a bit like a library that's exploded, don't feel bad. You're just practicing the art of tsundoku. It sounds much more sophisticated than book hoarder, doesn't it? Chapter 5. Okay, this next one is also from Germany, and it's a bit punchy, literally. The word is Backpfeifengesicht. It translates quite directly to a face badly in need of a fist, or perhaps more politely, a slappable face. Now, we're not advocating violence here on the show, absolutely not. This is all about you know those people, maybe a character in a movie, or someone who just has that incredibly smug, arrogant, or irritating look that makes you, just for a fleeting tiny second, imagine. Well, you get the idea. It's not about actually anything. It's about that visceral reaction a certain kind of face can provoke. It's that face that just seems to be a negative response through its sheer obnoxiousness. Think of the most annoying cartoon villain, or that person who cuts you off in traffic and then gives you a smirk. Their face in that moment might be described as a Backpfeifengesicht. It's a very specific, very strong feeling, and the Germans, bless them, have a word for it. Again, look, don't touch, just appreciate the linguistic accuracy. Chapter 6. Here's another German gem, and one you might actually be familiar with: Schadenfreude. This is the experience of pleasure, joy, or self-satisfaction that comes from learning of or witnessing the troubles, failures, or humiliation of another. Oh, come on, don't look at me like that. We've all felt a tiny twinge of it, even if we don't like to admit it. Maybe it's when that person who always boasts about their perfect life gets a parking ticket, or when a rival sports team fumbles the winning play. It's not about wishing ill on people necessarily. It's more like a little, see? They're not so perfect after all. It's a complex emotion, often fleeting, and usually reserved for situations where we feel the misfortune is minor or perhaps even a little bit deserved. Think about watching those funny home video shows where someone trips in a harmless but hilarious way. That little chuckle? That's a sprinkle of schadenfreude. It's human nature, folks. As long as it's not malicious, a little schadenfreude just means you're paying attention. And the Germans, they just gave it a name so we can talk about it openly. Chapter 7. Get ready for this one, it's a mouthful, and it's from the Yagan language of Tierra del Fuego. The word is mamihlapinatapai. Attempts to pronounce it maybe stumbles a bit and laughs. This word is famously difficult to translate, but it essentially describes a look shared by two people, where each wishes that the other would initiate something that they both desire, but are unwilling to start themselves. Whoa, that's deep, right? Imagine two people, maybe they like each other, sitting across a table, both wanting to hold hands or say something, but both are too shy or afraid to make the first move. That silent, loaded glance exchanged between them, full of longing and hesitation. That's mamihlapinatapai. It's that incredibly tense yet hopeful moment where an entire conversation happens without a single word being spoken. It's in romantic comedies all the time. The almost kiss, the unspoken confession. It's a beautiful word for a very specific, very human experience of shared, unvoiced yearning. It's so nuanced, it's no wonder it's considered one of the most succinct and hardest to translate words in the world. Just try saying it 5 times fast, or even once, slowly. Next up we travel to Indonesia for the word jayus, pronounces it with a smile. A jayus is a joke so poorly told and so unfunny that one cannot help but laugh. Not because it's clever, not because it's witty, but because it's just astoundingly bad. You know the type. Your dad tells one or that uncle at Thanksgiving and there's a moment of silence and then someone, somewhere, just bursts out laughing, not at the joke but the joke, or at the person who told it, or just at the sheer awkwardness of it all. It's that unintentional humor, the kind that comes from a joke falling completely flat, yet somehow achieving comedic liftoff through its own failure. It's the anti-joke that becomes a joke. It's so bad it loops all the way back around to being funny. Think of a pun so terrible you groan, but then you can't help but chuckle at its audacity. That's the spirit of Jayus. So the next time someone tells you a real stinker of a joke, and you find yourself laughing anyway, you can say, "Wow, that was a total Jayus." They might be confused, but you'll know you've perfectly identified the phenomenon. Our ninth word is a beautiful one from Brazilian Portuguese. Cafun pronounces it softly and warmly. This refers to the simple, tender act of running your fingers through someone's hair. Isn't that lovely? It's such a specific, gentle gesture of affection and care. Think about a mother soothing a child, or a partner showing affection, or even just comforting a friend. That gentle, rhythmic motion of fingers through hair can be incredibly calming and intimate. We don't really have a single word for that in English. We might say stroking their hair or playing with their hair. But Cafun seems to capture the tenderness and the loving intention behind the gesture all in one beautiful word. It implies a certain closeness, a comfort, a silent way of saying I care about you or I'm here for you. It's one of those small acts of love and connection that means so much. I think we could all use a little more Cafun in our lives, don't you? It just sounds so soothing. And finally, our 10th word comes from the Inuit language, and it's Iksuarpak, pronounces it carefully. This describes that feeling of anticipation and impatience when you're expecting someone, which leads you to repeatedly go outside or look out the window to see if they've arrived yet. You know that feeling? You're waiting for a friend to come over, or for a delivery, or maybe for your kids to get home from school. You keep thinking, are they here yet? What about now? Let me just check again. It's that restless energy, that mix of excitement and slight frustration when you just can't wait for someone or something to appear. You might pace a bit, you peek through the blinds, you open the door just a crack. Iksuarpak perfectly encapsulates that antsy, expectant state. It's not just waiting, it's the of repeatedly checking due to that waiting. It's a very human thing, that eagerness to see someone or receive something you're looking forward to. So next time you find yourself glued to the window, you're not just being impatient, you're experiencing a bit of Iksuarpak. And there you have it, 10 fun words that just don't have an English equivalent. Isn't language amazing? Each of these words gives us a little peek into a different way of seeing the world, a different way of feeling, a different way of experiencing life. From the awkwardness of Tartle to the comforting gesture of Cafun, these words show us that while we might speak different languages, a lot of the things we feel are pretty universal. We just haven't all come up with the same snappy one-word labels for them yet. Which one was your favorite? Are you a tsundoku expert with piles of books? Have you ever experienced Mami Lapinata pie? Or maybe you know a pochamuchka or two. Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear which word resonated with you the most, or if you know any other cool, untranslatable words from other languages. Sharing is caring, especially when it comes to wonderfully weird and specific words. It's like collecting little linguistic treasures. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fun content like this. We have so much more to explore together, so many more things to laugh about, and maybe even a few more words to learn. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be kind to one another, and maybe try to use Kummerspec in a sentence this week. See what happens. Bye, waves.